Hello, everybody. We are live. And as you can see, I thought I had the horizontal orientation issue resolved, and that didn't work. But we're showing you the Queens Salon. This is originally the first class main lounge. And on December 8th, last night, there were over 1,000 passengers in this lounge, partying from mid-evening all the way until past daybreak when she was only hours away from docking. And now that was 57 years ago. And as you can see, they are getting ready for the 57th anniversary gala dinner and dance tonight. And I got somebody coming in, sit down with me here. Ah, come on in. Oh gosh. Okay. You better say the last name again.
Tomimatsu.
Tomimatsu. Ben Tomimatsu is here. We've been friends on Facebook. We started out on a nonprofit that we will not mention, and that didn't quite work out. But I'm hoping to bring him in on future projects that are going to be coming up. Um, what got you started on the Queen Mary?
Really, I'm just a local who's grown up with seeing it on the news, and when I was a kid, seeing it from across the harbor over at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and I just started coming and have never really wanted to leave after one of my first trips when I was about 5 or 6.
Yeah. Now, tell us what you do for your profession. What do you do for a living?
I am a background artist and illustrator.
Wow. And do you think that at some point that you can combine that interest with something with the ship?
Oh, most certainly. There's a lot of overlap, and basically all the skills that I have for my day-to-day work out perfectly fine with drawing and painting.
That would.
The Queen
I
Mary.
think your skills would be most desired, and you know, if there is a way to be able to bring the two worlds together, that would be wonderful. You might need to actually scoot up because I think we're going to need to. Since you're a little soft voiced, yeah. So as you can see, we got everybody working here, and we're going to try and stay out of their way as they're setting up for dinner. But uh, we're waiting for a few guests to come by here, and we'll be talking to them in a minute. Um, so think about 57 years ago. Can you imagine this room filled with almost every passenger on the ship?
I cannot. You get a glimpse of it during one of their events with for the jazz ball
Oh,
gala
right,
nights.
yeah.
But the room is not quite that full.
No, it was pretty packed with people, and I would say that there were other parties going on in all kinds of different corners of the ship, not just even in this lounge, but this was where the main farewell ball was being handled, and I would imagine that most everybody didn't even get much sleep that night. You know,
No, especially with the Queen Mary's famous reputation for dances, all night dances and
she
parties.
seems to have that reputation now.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is going to go all night, but we'll definitely be here into the mid evening anyway. Um, so you did hear about what's behind us and what's going to be happening with it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
The famous Unicorns in Battle is going to be restored to its glory.
At least on its way. I think there's going to be a lot more work that's going to need to be done, but it's supposed to start sometime in the early part of next year, possibly in January, from what I understand. And they're looking at putting in at least 6 weeks, maybe 2 months worth of work, and it's going to be done very subtly, without taking this room out of being able to be used for events. So it will be kind of encapsulated during the work being done. Oh, I see somebody's over here. Let's see if There's a certain gentleman.
Happy anniversary day.
Happy
Happy
anniversary
anniversary
day.
day.
Glad
Everybody,
you're
this
here.
is Paul Jasek. Say hi.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome aboard. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
are you gonna stay here for the event?
Yes, yes, I'm here for the duration.
Wonderful, wonderful. Did Everett get to possibly come with you? I heard he might.
I heard that too, but I've not seen him. I just came on board, so
Okay.
I
I
have
was
to
looking.
sneak
I was
around.
looking for you all over the place. I didn't see it. Hiding your hair of you.
Yeah, because I'm in late this evening, but I snuck in, so
Oh,
I'll
that's good.
snoop around and find out what the ship's scuttlebutt. I'll see
Yes.
what's going
All right, sir.
on. I will be back. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now we're waiting for some other people here. Let's see if there was something else I wanted to discuss. Oh, I did want to discuss. Yeah, I'll put it underneath my chair when I'm done. So I would say out of all of the books that were written with the topic of the last voyage as the theme to the book, this is a very little known book called Three Stacks and You're Out, and it was written by Velma Crouch, and her husband also basically was kind of in on writing it too. But I've actually got a signed copy, and it's basically covering the entire voyage from I believe they did board in Southampton all the way to Long Beach. It's a difficult book to get a hold of. Every once in a while, it sneaks up on the internet, and this is probably my second copy because I think I lost my first one in one of my moves over the decades.
And then we have a question from the chat asking
Oh, yeah.
if the Queen Elizabeth ever had a farewell cruise similar to the Queen Mary on her way to Florida.
No, she didn't. She sailed to Florida from Southampton with a skeleton crew. There was no passengers on board, and kind of an anticlimax. What the Queen Mary was able to experience. It would have been nice if she had gotten the chance to have that new life with Tung, but it just didn't happen for reasons we won't discuss.
It's too long of a story.
Too hot of a story.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very hot. Let's see here. I'm looking around. See, they're a little fashionably late getting here. That's all right. Any other questions?
Same user asks why the Queen Mary was allowed to have her final voyage with passengers.
Let me guess. Is this Moonser?
American Loyalist.
Okay, never mind. Okay. Call out some of the people that are in the channel, in the chat.
We have Mark Cooper, American Travels, Skip's Happy Hour, Mark, and Age Forgotten.
Wow, there's a lot of names in here. We got a lot of people in the chat. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
A lot of people going off in the chat. And John Hill?
Who?
John Hill. H-Y, it looks like H-Y-L-L.
Wow. Okay. Wow. There's a lot of people. A lot of new people I haven't seen in some of my live chats before. So that's wonderful. I'm glad you're all here. I know that we are expecting some people, and they are a little late getting here, which is fine. We'll deal with it.
Maybe in the meantime we can talk about.
You would think that I would have a lot to talk about in here right now, but I'm so distracted by everything else that's going on. I'm always up for anybody who's got questions in the chat. Ask away. Oh, wait a minute. I think. Let's see. Did I see?
I see one.
Is that Dylan? Okay. Wonderful. Okay, I'll put this. I'll put this away. He's probably waiting for the other accompaniment.
Actually, speaking of that book, I think the LA Public Library might have a copy of it in the business and
I would
economics
bet
section.
you they probably do. Yeah. Um, gosh, I hate how it's such a wide shot. Was trying to keep us above the waist, and now we're fully in there.
Oh, it's perfect for viewing on a phone.
If you're viewing on a phone, yes, absolutely. I swear
While,
I will get that taken care of.
while we're waiting, there is one more question.
Good.
Same users before asking if there are any other bids for the Queen Mary, or if it was just Long Beach, and if there was any other details on them.
Wait, say the question one more time.
I'll read it verbatim. Also, what other bids were offered for the
Oh,
Queen Mary
oh,
outside
bids.
of Long Beach?
Oh, yeah, there were several bids, and they were all basically underbidded. You know, they were way underbid by Long Beach because the next I think the next bid was like a little over 3 million, and you know, Philadelphia was in on the bid. City of New York was in on the bid. I don't know if Liverpool got in on the bid. They were looking to bid, but you know, we're all, you know, floating high school and low income housing project. Was nothing that you know was planned for here. So it's a good thing that Long Beach was able to get the winning bid. I would have hated to have seen her as a high school in New York. That wouldn't have gone over very well.
Or in Philadelphia, given the current situation.
Or
with
in
another
Philadelphia,
superliner.
yeah, given that you know we have another liner in Philadelphia that can't seem to find a place to go. You heard about that, right?
I heard that she was sold and she's waiting for transport to Louisiana.
Waiting, but apparently the Coast Guard is getting cold feet. That you know, there were some articles that were written that were talking about her current condition and the fact that she was laying in the silt at the pier and that her hull had significant corrosion and damage, you know, from being there, and it's just completely untrue. And I don't understand why the Coast Guard is listening to a lot of the scuttlebutt that's going on, but.
Good work.
But you know, it's kind of rushing on the way to your own funeral. So you know, I'd like to see her on the move at some point, but I don't know if that's gonna. I don't know if that's gonna happen like right away, but you know, it could happen at some point. Are we waiting for the other?
I'm gonna have Paul join us.
What's that?
I'm gonna have Paul join us. if
Oh,
that's
okay.
all
Oh,
right.
no, that's
Yeah,
fine.
'cause
Absolutely.
Steve got caught up with something.
Yeah,
so
no, have a
he's,
seat.
Well, he's on his way. I'm gonna grab him and then we'll
Oh,
be right.
okay, that's perfect. Okay.
You know Paul, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And while we're waiting on him, we do have one question. One question related to the unicorns in battle,
Yes.
asking if there's any details available yet about its restoration.
Specific details, no, because from what I had originally seen of what was being discussed for the work, that has probably changed because that was several years back. I can say with certainty that the majority of it is a meticulous cleaning and a proper cleaning because part of the problem that the panel has is the fact that it's been cleaned over the years improperly, and so that hopefully will be reversed.
And then another question we have while we wait is, how long has Captain Commodore Everett been involved with the ship?
So Commodore Everett has been involved with the Queen Mary consciously. I think he actually was coming here in the 70s, but I know that I believe he started coming on board and working on board. He has had several different positions on the ship, or just coming to visit on the ship. So he has been involved with the ship almost its entire time here in Long Beach. Um, and he got uh, he worked his way up through the ranks from uh, you know working in the gift shop to to being the commodore of the ship. So that, and we've been missing him. He's been out on a medical issue for a little while, but he is on the mend, and we're hoping that we get to see him back on the ship here soon.
Because he is the soul of the modern ship.
He is. That he is.
While we wait, one last question
No, keep
they
going.
brought up is how busy the ship is on her 57th anniversary of arriving in Long Beach.
It was actually a moderate day for being Christmas time, and on a Monday, no less. It's usually pretty quiet on Mondays here, especially in December. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a pickup, and then of course we're expecting all of these people here, in a few hours. So
It's a beehive of activity getting ready for the big gala celebration.
yes, absolutely. Um, what we got?
Mainly comments. I don't see anything
Oh.
question related aside from that one. One that looked like a comment.
So when you're expecting to have some people that are supposed to come in to talk, and they're not here, it gets a little distracting to be able to fill in information. But I think we do have some people coming up here.
Here they are.
Here they are. There they're coming. All right.
Do you
Welcome back.
care which order we're in?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
Put it on frame.
Well, first of all, Dylan, I'm
Hey,
glad. Thank you for
thanks for
bringing
being
me on
here.
board and
Thanks for
being
being
able to do
here.
this.
And I'm so
Paul-
excited for you to be a part of the foundation too.
Oh,
That's
thank you very
awesome.
much.
When they floated your name, I was like, thank God, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to be involved with the ship in the historical aspect of being like the steward,
Yeah,
like being
yeah.
stewards for the ship, and I think that was fantastic that
No, and
John
you,
Thomas asked me to
and not that the previous folks didn't, but you have seen firsthand what we're trying to do here as
Oh
a
my God,
team, and
yes.
you obviously are a fan, and so it's nice to have true allies. Just trying to, we're all moving in the same direction. We're on the same team, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, actually, I want to introduce everybody. This is Dylan Matteson. He is the Director of Experiences on the Queen Mary. And how long have you been in this position now on the ship?
About a year and a half.
About a year
Yeah.
and a half. And I hope it's going to be for many years to come.
Yes.
We need you. We need
Oh well, thank you.
you. And Paul Jason, go
Yes,
ahead
Steve.
and give a little bit of your background.
Well, my interest started when I was 8 years old in Boulder, Colorado. I started studying the ship, and then at 12, I came on board as they opened her for a tourist exhibit in 1971. And then in 1980, I became a Queen Mary tour guide, and I was here 80 to 84, and I brought the Spruce Goose into the dome. And in 84, I went off to Hollywood, and I've had a big fat Hollywood career. And last year, I came back Friday the 13th of October and got my old job back. And then June 7th of this year, I was proud and honored to be made first officer. I joined the Commodore and the staff captain and first officer Danny Rangel.
We have a good list of ship's officers. Yeah.
Well, and I've been walking these decks more or less for 50 years.
Yeah,
So
right. But
she and I are good friends.
How does a person living in Colorado
Yes.
fall in love with an ocean liner that's 1,000 miles away?
Well, my father was a mechanical engineer.
Oh, okay.
And the dream for him would be to become a mechanical engineer. But I always had a thing for ships. even as a little kid. So we were at the library. Back in the day, you had a card catalog and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of that. I became really good at it, and so I started. The entry drug for all of us usually is Titanic.
Yeah.
So I started studying Titanic and became a Titanic Historical Society member early. I think I was 12 or 13, and it just bloomed from there.
Wow. So, one question I want to ask you is, uh, we've had probably one of the most thrilling years for the ship, 2024. And uh, what are what do you feel are some of the major highlights from 2024?
Yeah, not only just reopening the ship, because I don't want to gloss over what a task that was that our team kind of went through in terms of the infrastructure of the ship, to getting the floors walkable. The lobby carpet had duct tape across the seams. There was so much to get it to this point. It's hard to almost like remember where we were even a year and a half or 2 years ago at this point. And we're very, very proud of what we've done as a team, from reopening spaces from like the Commodore's office or the Heritage Room or the game room, and all these different things that we've done. But what's exciting about this evening is it's not only a celebration of where we've come, but also where we're going. And we've got a long list of things that we're going to kind of go over this evening, of what's in the pipeline and some things that you might not even know about. We actually just activated literally today a couple of things that you'll be like, what? That's a thing now? And so we're excited to talk about those things to our biggest fans.
Oh, good. Then I'll be pleasantly surprised when it's announced. Well, without spoiling that list, what are the things that you're seeing for 2025 for the Queen Mary that you can talk about?
Yeah, no, it's all about creating things to do on board the ship. We want the message to be, there's always something to do on the Queen Mary. There's always something happening. One of the key pieces of that actually is focusing on midweek and midweek business. So like from a business standpoint, we're a tourist attraction. We have thousands of people that come here every weekend. That's not something, like we obviously could always grow that and everything, but midweek is really what we're honing in as a strategy piece of, there's corporate business that would love to be in a 1936 gorgeous ballroom like we're in right now. There's locals that we want to continue strengthening that community by having our observation bar series, which we now have programming every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the observation bar, and that's free admission for those to get on. And so that's part of the key strategy, is how do we just make it that, I'm going to pop by the Queen Mary, I know there's something going on, I'm going to check out what's on deck and do that. And then on top of that, we're just trying to keep the pedal to the metal in terms of activating spaces. One of the things, I'll go and give a spoiler here, it might seem like something small, but it's going to be really fun, is we now have a pickleball court on the sports deck. And everything we do, we look at historical photos. We go to our amazing historians on board the ship and our ship's officers to vet, like, hey, what was this space used for? And obviously the sports deck was used for sports, and there's all these photos of badminton up there and all that. And so this is kind of a nod to that, but with the modern spin of pickleball is so huge right now.
Sure, yeah.
But right after this, if you guys were to walk up there, we've got this gorgeous new pickleball court. Like,
We're gonna
to
have to
play
take a peek.
to play pickleball on top of the Queen Mary,
Right.
like that's just a cool experience. And we want everything we do, we want to be affinity building for anyone who steps on board.
And I think that, like, the yoga
Right.
programs that you offer for hotel guests, that is something that we never saw 20, 30 years ago.
Exactly.
In fact, the events that you have in the observation bar that bring in all the local crowd, the Meet Me at the Mary, the karaoke nights, the jazz nights, we never had that on the ship. And I always thought that was one thing that was lacking, was that the ship was not bringing in the local community. And I think they felt maybe a little bit left out. They're not being left out now, are they?
Not at all.
No, and we've got more to come on that front too. We'll kind of hint at it tonight with some initiatives. We really want to leverage that as we're moving a piano around in the background. Talk about leverage.
You've heard the story about the first class piano that was
Yes.
crashing from side to side.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
show.
Yeah,
Oh my
rolling,
gosh,
yep.
yeah. There's a little taste of that. Are you gonna have the market back next
Oh
year?
yeah, so
Okay.
so that's what's kind of cool, is last year we were able to kind of test things that work and things that don't work, and now that's just the baseline of all these other things we're going to layer on top of it as well. So, I think I've shared with you before, but we kind of look at what we did in the past and then see, hey, what worked well, what didn't work well, how can we kind of give this a new twist. So, in January, we've been so focused on our December programming, and we have our crazy holiday party season right now, which is amazing. Like basically every space is used for the rest of the month in terms of holiday parties on board the ship. And we have our 12 Days of Christmas, which starts on Thursday with the lighting of the stacks, and that's going to bring a ton of folks on and families, and just really good vibes there. And then obviously our New Year's festivities. So we've been focused on everything this month, but coming into next month, we have MLK, which we're going to do a really awesome activation there, and a lot of cultural activations along with that. And then on the cultural front as well, we're going to do bring back Lunar New Year, which is at the end of next month. So really, it's just like making sure that we have something going on here. Like I said, every single week on board the Queen Mary.
By the way, I didn't introduce Ben. This is my friend Ben.
Yeah,
we know
nice
each other
to
from
meet you.
Facebook, and he was with the other organization, and that didn't quite work out. But I'm hoping to bring him in.
Very cool.
He
Awesome.
tell me what you do.
I'm a background artist in animation and illustrator, and actually the Queen Mary is one of the ways that I learned a lot of the core fundamental drawing skills
Oh, yeah.
that a lot of people tend to struggle with right out of the gate.
Very cool.
That's so cool.
A lot of people will draw a stick man. Well, you've seen like how most people draw a boat. It's a triangle with stacks in the middle. It's about it.
Yep.
How are they keeping the ship's officers? Get a little more busy now, you think?
Whoa, we're very busy, I will tell you, especially what Dylan has planned. I'm so excited about it, especially the holiday season. The 12 Days of Christmas here. Y'all come. We're going to have cookie decorating. We're having cocoa with the captain. We're getting ready. Can we talk about the lecture series?
Yeah.
We're starting a lecture series. The
wow.
four officers, the Commodore, Staff Captain James, and Danny and I will all be offering lectures midweek, Monday through. There's four of us, Monday through Thursday, and I'm lining up some guests. I had a big fat Hollywood career, and some of them have stories about being on the ship. So there's a whole lot of things to do. Meet Me at the Mary happens to be one of my favorites, and oddly enough, I usually work on Tuesday nights, so come on over, and we'll talk in the Obi Bar and listen to some fabulous jazz. This is the spot. For a long time, especially in the early 80s, no one had a really gelled idea of what to do.
Yeah.
And when I came aboard, as a friend brought me, when they were doing a press opening in March of 2023, and I looked around and said to her, "The ship has never looked this clean." And from that, last time I'd been in the OB, it was a little sad. There were two big flat screens, and it basically was a sports bar. And as I walked in and looked up, and the screens were gone, and that's when Steve said, "It's not really appropriate here. I think this should be a little light jazz." He said, "I've got plenty of room on board." And that's how our game room came to be. And the OB is now the hot rockin' spot in Long Beach. So especially on Tuesdays, come on over. It's complimentary admission, and then it's a great night, 4 to 8, and I'll be there. So
Even more reason. Do you have some questions that you wanted to ask?
I guess. Sorry, I'm a bit stuttering
that's fine.
because there's a lot going over.
All good.
I guess really it's what are the type of events do you foresee coming in during 2025 that really hint at the Mary's history? Because the Meet Me at the Mary, the jazz nights, those have definitely been nights that bring in a lot of people. It's really fun to go to, talking from personal experience, and also does perfectly nod to the ship's
Right. Well,
original
one of the
uses and
things
vibes.
that I haven't talked about is we actually just started the Alex Menham residency here. So every month we have Alex Menham and his orchestra perform. Usually it's in this room, if not here, then in the Grand. But like tonight we've got another orchestra performing. But Alex will be here on the 28th of this month for kind of a pre-New Year's Eve celebration bash.
That's great.
And it's just such a blast. You talk about like period true, just everyone dressed to the nines, and just it's like you were put back in when the ship was sailing. So that event is so important. And then, I was mentioning this actually to you earlier when I ran into you, but we have this partnership with Insomniac now, and there's these large, giant music festivals that happen out in the parking lot. 30,000 people there, 3,000 come on board the ship. And you might be like, how does that have to do with the Queen's history? But the Queen is all about the spirit of innovation, and having in this room, and the awesome thing about partnering with Insomniac is they truly do take care of the ship. When they're using this room, they're delicately wrapping the columns to make sure they're not messed with. The lighting, everything, they're making sure they leverage what this room is all about. But you bring on these after parties from the music festival out there, and it's just a really neat blending of new and old, and it's those sort of little nods. You have on one side of the spectrum the Alex Manham, which is just so period true, so we're back in time. It's the 50s now, it's the 40s now, and then you see the dichotomy though of this gorgeous, like I said, 1936 ballroom, but with modern music in it. It's just neat, kind of seeing that new life being brought in, and what we're all about too is just like I alluded to before, is that affinity building. We need the younger generation to fall in love with the Queen, just like all of us have. And so it's more exposure. I guarantee you, out of those 30,000, a handful maybe knew what the Queen Mary was before they came here for this concert.
Yep.
So you've got 30 more eyeballs on it, and they could fall in love with it just like they did. I mean, how can you not when you're in this room and you're like, oh my gosh, where am I right now? Like, this is amazing.
And before you had Insomniac come in and do these large music events, the music events that you would get the young, local, coming of age, age, were, proms, winter formals.
Right.
And I know hundreds of people who have had that experience 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it's still fresh in their mind. And they always have a love for the Queen Mary. They may not know as much about it, but they're always interested, they're always curious. They'll always ask me, like, well, how's the Queen Mary doing? What's happening with her? And so that's what we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely what we need. Well, I am looking forward to 2025, and I hope that we get to work together.
We will. We will. You don't have to hope. We will.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right.
And
Well,
thanks for being here to support us.
I'm
Yeah,
glad.
indeed.
I'm glad to be here. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up. We want to let them continue to set up, and I need to get dressed and get ready for tonight. So we will see you all later.